George Clooney just gave us a prime example of how out of touch some celebrities can be with the real world. Trust me, this story will leave you shaking your head in disbelief. You know that saying about money and fame creating a bubble? Well, what's happening in Hollywood right now isn't just a bubble. It's a full-blown fortress of delusion. And guess who just crowned himself as its spokesperson? George Clooney. Over the past few days, we've witnessed something astonishing: the unraveling of what many would call the Hollywood mystique. Let's dive into what Clooney actually said, because honestly, I had to read it twice to believe it. Responding to the growing criticism of celebrities being out of touch, Clooney delivered what he probably thought was a strong defense of celebrity culture, but instead, it turned into one of the most tone-deaf monologues we've heard from a Hollywood star in a long time.
Extraordinary, really extraordinary, and so honestly, I really do think that that's what should be focused on.
Rebels run the palace. It was terrible.
My pal Richard Kind, who you know is an actor, very funny. I remember when Richard came to visit.
Yes.
And we were staying down.
Here's what Clooney actually said, and no, I'm not making this up. He claimed that celebrities aren't any different from middle-class Americans. This, of course, coming from one of his many luxury homes. But then, in the same breath, he contradicted himself by saying celebrities are special because they have a powerful voice to decide what's right and wrong. The mental gymnastics here deserve a gold medal. But wait, it gets even better. Clooney went on to suggest that the public actually needs celebrities to guide their thinking. Yes, you heard that correctly. He implied that you can't rely on your neighbors or local community for wisdom. You need Hollywood stars to tell you how to see the world. If that's not the epitome of being out of touch, I don't know what is. What makes this even more fascinating is that it's not just George Clooney having an off day. We're seeing similar behavior from other A-listers like Julia Roberts and Jimmy Kimmel. It's as if Hollywood's elite collectively decided to show just how detached they are from reality. The most baffling part of this situation is how Clooney tried to justify his point. He actually said, and I'm paraphrasing here for clarity, that what separates celebrities from regular people is this: you need us, and we need you.
Rebels run the palace. It was terrible.
My pal Richard Kind, who you know is an actor, very funny. I remember when Richard came to visit.
Yes.
And we were staying down in these rooms down at the bottom of the casino, and we had a rollaway bed, you know, for Richard. And we were.
But let's unpack that for a moment. Do we really need celebrities to shape our worldviews? Are Hollywood stars the ones we should rely on to tell us what's right and wrong? This comes at a particularly interesting time in our culture. People are starting to question traditional power structures, including the hold celebrity culture has over society. And yet, here's George Clooney, boldly suggesting that we should trust celebrities more than the people in our own communities. It's as if Clooney is stuck reading from a 1950s playbook, back when stars were treated like untouchable demigods. What makes this even more intriguing is how he dragged Julia Roberts into the conversation. He defended her against recent criticism, calling it unfair and offensive. But here's the thing: Clooney and others in his circle don't seem to grasp. The public isn't criticizing celebrities for their talent or their work. The backlash is about rejecting the idea that fame automatically translates into wisdom or moral authority. The most eye-opening part of Clooney's statement came when he addressed the topic of status. He actually claimed that criticizing celebrities for their wealth and privilege is a weak argument, suggesting it stems from a distorted view of the world. If anything, that comment alone shows just how warped his perspective has become. Think about that for a second. In a time when many Americans are struggling to cover basic expenses, a multimillionaire is lecturing us, claiming we have a warped worldview for questioning celebrity privilege. Clooney keeps throwing around phrases like voice of truth and speaking volumes. But let's ask, what truth is he actually sharing? What volumes is he really speaking? From where most people stand, it sounds more like someone who's spent far too much time in the bubble of wealth and privilege, surrounded by yes-men and people who share his elite status. This isn't just about Clooney anymore. It's become a glaring example of the growing divide between Hollywood and the real world.
To just focus on the characters, the heist isn't that interesting. And this one was a diamond heist, and it's not that interesting a heist, you know.
When he says things like, "You can't just rely on your neighbor," he's not just dismissing individuals. He's undermining entire communities, the value of local connections, and the real-life wisdom that comes from facing everyday challenges. In the real world, let's talk about what this really means for Hollywood's future. What we're seeing could very well mark the start of a major shift in how people view celebrity culture. The film industry has always had its issues, but with Clooney and others making statements like these, they're essentially digging their own PR graves. What's especially ironic is that this is happening at a time when independent creators and producers are becoming more influential than ever, thanks to platforms like social media and streaming services. The truth is, we don't need the Hollywood machine the way we used to. Everyday people are creating content, sharing stories, and shaping opinions, all without the input of the Hollywood elite. What's really fascinating is watching how these celebrities handle criticism. Instead of pausing for a moment of self-reflection, they're doubling down, refusing to acknowledge the growing disconnect between themselves and the people they claim to represent.
The Gregory Peck that we've known, you know, he's got the glasses on and he doesn't quite have his, you know, it's not Roman Holiday, and that's why I love him so much in that movie.
Clooney's response isn't just defensive, it feels almost desperate, like someone coming to terms with the fact that their influence might be slipping away and struggling to cope with it. Think about how much the landscape has changed. 10 years ago, a statement like Clooney's might have been met with nods of approval from fans who saw celebrities as cultural leaders. But today, people are calling it what it really is, an out-of-touch celebrity trying to justify their relevance in a world that's increasingly questioning why we gave them so much influence to begin with. What makes this even more intriguing is how it ties into the broader conversation about woke Hollywood. There's a growing backlash against the idea that celebrities should act as our moral compass or political guides, signaling a major shift in how the public views their role in society. This isn't just about disagreeing with their views, it's about questioning why their opinions should hold any special significance in the first place. And you know what's truly fascinating about all of this? The timing. This so-called meltdown isn't happening in isolation. It's unfolding at a moment when the entertainment landscape is being turned on its head. Streaming platforms are revolutionizing how we consume content, social media is empowering everyone with a voice, and traditional Hollywood power structures are facing unprecedented challenges. Let's consider some numbers Clooney might want to think about. Traditional movie attendance has been steadily declining, while more people are turning to independent creators and non-Hollywood sources for both entertainment and information. Platforms like YouTube are proof of this shift. Many creators there attract more daily viewers than some Hollywood blockbusters manage during their opening weekends. This isn't just a trend, it's a tectonic shift in how audiences engage with content. And here's where it gets even more interesting. That's definitely worth diving into. Clooney's comments came right on the heels of several high-profile Hollywood projects facing serious backlash from audiences. What we're seeing is a clear pattern. Celebrities and studios appear completely out of touch with what viewers actually want. Instead of taking this feedback seriously, they're doubling down, just like Clooney, telling audiences they're wrong and should listen to Hollywood's so-called wisdom. Speaking of wisdom, let's address something Clooney conveniently left out.
It's got, you know, it's from Matt, and it just says, look, it sounds hypocritical because I laughed at the jokes about George and Leo, but, you know, that's sort of what people think about them. But
many of today's most successful creators and influencers started with nothing but a camera and a story to share. They built their audiences from the ground up, without the backing of major studios, without Hollywood connections, and without insisting people should trust them just because of who they are. This is exactly what makes Clooney's "you need us" argument feel so out of touch. We're living in an era where the most compelling content, the most insightful commentary, and the most relatable stories are coming from everyday people, not from celebrities perched on pedestals. The landscape has changed, and Clooney's mindset seems stuck in the past. Exactly, those same neighbors Clooney thinks we shouldn't listen to are the ones redefining what matters. What's particularly revealing is how other celebrities are responding to this cultural shift. While some, like Clooney, are doubling down on their outdated approach, others are adapting and reading the room more effectively. They are recognizing that the era of untouchable celebrities as cultural authorities is coming to an end. Some stars are choosing a different path, engaging with audiences as equals rather than as self-appointed moral leaders.
And my wife speaks French and Italian.
You are at a tactical disadvantage right now.
Yeah, what's got two thumbs and doesn't speak French or Italian? Right here.
Take Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, for example. He's mastered the art of staying relevant by genuinely listening to his audience and interacting with them authentically. Or consider Keanu Reeves, who's become a fan favorite not by lecturing from a pedestal, but by displaying genuine humility despite his enormous success. These examples show that there's another way to handle fame, one that resonates more with today's audiences. It's proof that staying grounded and relatable is far more impactful than clinging to outdated notions of celebrity importance. In today's world, what's even more fascinating is how this divide is unfolding in real time on social media. The celebrities thriving in this new landscape aren't the ones dictating what people should think. They're the ones willing to listen, adapt, and even admit when they've made mistakes. This is a concept that the George Clooneys of Hollywood seem either unable or unwilling to understand. We are also witnessing a significant change in how younger celebrities approach their public personas. Take Zendaya or Tom Holland, for example. They've managed to maintain their privacy while still building genuine connections with fans. They're not trying to be moral authorities. They're simply focusing on their work and letting it speak for itself. This shift in attitude isn't just cultural. It's having a noticeable economic impact.
I was on Sisters at the time, and it was a perfectly good show, but there's no real room for me on that show. Kind of like Facts of Life, I'd come on late and there was no place for me on the show.
Films and projects can no longer depend solely on star power to guarantee success. Audiences are looking for authenticity, creativity, and meaningful stories, rather than being told what to believe by out-of-touch elites. It's a wake-up call for Hollywood that the old rules no longer apply. Simply having a big name like George Clooney attached to a project no longer guarantees its success. Today's audiences are far more interested in authentic storytelling and genuine performances than being lectured to by celebrities. This shift has made celebrities like Clooney even more desperate to cling to relevance. The old strategies of relying on star power and influence are rapidly becoming outdated, and it's clear that the industry is evolving, with or without them. The pandemic significantly accelerated this cultural shift. When celebrities tried to relate to lockdown life from their sprawling mansions, the public's patience with their self-importance finally snapped. Who could forget the infamous Imagine video? It became the ultimate symbol of how disconnected Hollywood had become. While ordinary people faced real struggles, celebrities thought singing John Lennon from their luxury homes was a meaningful contribution.
Is sick, as happens apparently with children. I didn't know this. And so 2:30, she woke us up on my birthday.
Terrific.
4:30 in the morning.
Nice.
And so then we put her in the bed.
These new stars aren't building followings by claiming superiority or special authority. Instead, they're relatable, approachable, and real. They're proving something powerful. You don't need Hollywood's stamp of approval to have a voice that matters. So there you have it, family, the new era of celebrity culture where authenticity trumps privilege and the Hollywood elite are finding themselves out of sync with the world they once dominated. We're witnessing the old Hollywood system crumble right before our eyes, and stars like George Clooney are giving us front row seats with their out-of-touch comments. Maybe it's time for celebrities to understand that in today's world, respect isn't handed out because of fame. It's earned through authenticity and real connections. What do you think about all this? Are you tired of celebrities telling you what to think, or are you ready for a new era where talent and authenticity take center stage over status and fame? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your take on this. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell so you can stay updated on more Hollywood reality checks like this one. This is Macy signing off. But before I go, here's something for George Clooney to think about. In a world where everyone has a platform, maybe it's time for celebrities to stop talking about how important their voices are and start listening to others instead. Stay real, everyone, and I'll see you in the next video as we keep exposing the truth behind Hollywood's facade. Peace out.